How to get back with an ex who sends you mixed signals or the hot and cold messages. I know it's extremely frustrating to be at the other end of that type of messages. As you know, I coach people on WhatsApp. I have 20 clients. Actually, I don't have more. 20 clients because I can't. I can't accept more clients. On WhatsApp that I coach every month on these specific topics. Sometimes they're really struggling with those mixed messages. I'm going to share with you the strategies that I use with my clients. I'm going to also explain you the advantage or the good signs of those mixed messages, as well as the problem they generate that you're actually perhaps experiencing, and I will explain you what and how to deal with those things. Jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, let's start with the plus side. I believe it could be a good sign, and I'm talking about post-breakup. If you're starting a relationship with someone who is only communicating with mixed messages, be really mindful because you don't want to be playing games right at the beginning of a relationship. You want things to go smoothly and very easily. Post-breakup is different because there's sometimes a lot of resentment. There's different reflex of your ex. The good sign is obviously if there are mixed signals, if there is hot and cold, there is hot. So is also the expression that there's an inner battle within your ex between their feelings, i.e. they still have feelings for you, and usually that's the case, and their decision. They decided to end the relationship. The reason they also communicate like this is, and we'll discuss afterwards, perhaps it's the result of something you are doing. You don't necessarily realize that you are also the reason of them communicating with you. Because when you were together, things were easy. You didn't have to play games. You didn't have this hot and cold thing. So perhaps you're part of the problem of this, or part of the reason they communicate this way. We'll discuss this towards the end. Actually, it's the last slide, I think. It's a good sign for the relationship, that's for sure. For sure, it's a good sign. When people tell me, like, I received those messages and they send me those screenshots, I know there's material for us to work with. However, it could be a danger for you because mixed signals create emotional dependency. It's something I'm extremely mindful of or about as a counselor. Because when we have those gaps, we imagine things. When we are just getting part of a message, we tend to fill the gaps with our imagination, right? Could be negative or positive, but we spend our time wondering about those things. And post-breakups are highly emotional, whereas there's not a lot going on. Usually you used to spend hours together, now you're on your own. And so you have more time with your thoughts on your own, reflecting on this, rather than doing things. That's why I recommend, and most of the coach online you'll see would recommend you to do things, to be active, to stop wondering. As a counselor, it's more the benefit of doing things is really to distract your thought process and break those rumination. Because the temptation is that you're going to obsess on things. And as you know, obsession leads to anxiety. When we obsess on thoughts, especially the ones that we can't control, we create that sense of anxiety. It's perhaps why sometimes you might feel like a weight on the chest. Sometimes you struggle to sleep. It's this anxiety. All those obsessive thoughts. If they were completely transparent, completely clear in their communication, you wouldn't have to spend time obsessing on things. What is he trying to say? Why is she not answering? What does that mean? Why was she super hot and cold when we saw each other and now she's telling me, love? She signed the message with love. Okay, it's very confusing. And when we have this confusion, we start to obsess on things. And that creates emotional dependency. Because it creates an imbalance. Emotional dependency, it's really when you feel that you're over-investing in the relationship and there's no reciprocity. Perhaps throughout the relationship, you felt you were on the same page. But now because perhaps they took the decision to break up with you, you feel that you still want to invest, you still want to make it work, but they don't necessarily reciprocate. And that creates that element that you want to get some reassurance. You have this deep fear of rejection. You felt rejected after this breakup, obviously, but you don't want it to be rejected even more. And obviously this need for validation. So all these kind of things trigger these elements within yourself. And it's not healthy, it's toxic. It's the last thing you want for yourself is to have this emotional dependency in your life. So my advice is to be mindful of this emotional dependency. Now that you're watching this video, you know about it. And understand that like any new things or any new behaviors, it could become a habit. And when it becomes a habit, it becomes the new normal. You don't realize it unless someone tells you. Perhaps your best friend told you already, like, you shouldn't, he's treating you like shit. Or perhaps you would have a call with me and you would send me messages and I would tell you, like, actually, if I look at the messages, you're the one instigating, investing, and he is not, or she's not replying with the same intensity, with the same tone. So be mindful that we can get used to this treatment because you are scared to let go, right? As we discussed, you're scared of rejection. You want validation. You feel that without that relationship, things will be meaningless. Yet your life will be worse than it is now. There's also a question you need to ask yourself, is your relationship recoverable? Because sometimes we are struggling to let go of a relationship, to realize 6 months down the line that actually there was no chance at all because there was a lack of compatibility, because there was a lack of trust, because actually your relationship wasn't strong enough to be recoverable. If you're not sure and you want to know, you can take a quiz that I put together and it's in the description of this video. It takes literally 2 minutes and it's totally free, but at least you have an idea whether your relationship can be recovered or not. So when you're fooling yourself, because when you are fooling yourself is when you receive those messages and you feel, okay, I don't really like the way I'm treated. He treats me or she treats me. But I think that at some stage, things will change. I think that if I continue or if I miss the opportunity, if I don't sort of interact with them, I might miss the opportunity. It's as if you have this keychain with hundreds of keys. You've tried 50 keys in that door, it didn't work. And you think like, I've tried 100 keys, I still have 50 keys left to try to open this door. So I'm gonna keep trying because the longer I stay doing this, my chances to succeed will increase. Okay? The problem is that key might not be in that keychain, and actually that height works. It's actually the other way around. So don't fool yourself trying to open this door with another key and another key and another key. Because one, maybe the key is not in that keychain, and there's actually, if you took the quiz and you have a score less than 15, or perhaps it's actually not the right strategy. It's not working for you. I'll explain you why. With a bird, you see where I'm coming from. What I want to lead you, the addiction mechanic. If you want to get a rat or any sort of animal addicted, you give them a piece of sugar, a piece of breadcrumbs, and you take it back. What will happen is that each time you will give a piece of sugar, a piece of breadcrumb, they will eat it like it's the last because you withhold this for a period of time. And so each time they can consume this food, these words, those conversations, those time together, they feel like as if at any time they can take it back from me. So I'm going to hold to it. It's going to be the golden breadcrumbs. Okay? So don't be a bird. You're not a bird. You don't accept breadcrumbs. That's what you're doing. You're feeding yourself with breadcrumbs and you don't realize it. Because as each breadcrumbs feels so much valuable, so important, because you have this fear that at any time your ex can take it back from you. This is how you create addiction. This is exactly how you create addiction. The sense of those withdrawal symptoms that you get when you stop smoking, when you do dry Jan, if you drink a lot. It's exactly the same. And you want to step outside of this toxic relationship, toxic dynamic. So how to break this cycle? This is simple and very difficult at the same time. You have to take a step back. You have to accept to let go. As we discussed, there's an imbalance. You feel that you're over-investing. You wouldn't complain if you felt like those mixed signals, you accept them. So stop to invest. The idea is to be more selfish, right? At the end of the day, you have to look after your own self. The most important person when I coach my clients, it's not their ex, it's my clients. I'm always looking after their best interest. And when I see that there's an imbalance, when I see that there's no reciprocity, we work together at building that resilience, building that confidence that letting go will change things. And it does. Because by giving some space, what it will create is also because, as we discussed, sometimes because you were so invested in that breadcrumb, you didn't leave any space for your ex. He or she might have felt pressure. Might. We don't know. It depends on the situation. They also create that space, then the other feels okay to take initiative. You will also have the ability to assess whether they're serious about getting back together, whether they're serious about you together. They will also have the ability to understand your needs, your boundaries. When you tell them, well, I just don't want to meet up for 30 minutes coffee. I'd like to, have a proper conversation. Or I'm not okay, just, texting and I want to see each other. Or it's really about expressing your needs. Things you don't accept, things you accept. If it sounds a bit confusing, if you're lost because you feel like, I don't know if it's mixed signals, I don't know if there is any progress, because it's really what I assess. When there is progression, it's worth getting in touch, it's worth investing and build the momentum. When you see that there's no progress, when you see that there's a stagnation, this is the time to take a step back. And so sometimes it's very hard to have an objective view on things. If you're not sure, give me a call. There's a link as well to book a free call with me where we could discuss your situation. And before I forget, don't forget to like the video. You learned something new today. It does help me a lot. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.